The eyes of the world have been glued to the city of Harran for the past 2 months, following the outbreak of a previously unknown pathogen.
It is not yet clear what has caused this gruesome affliction. The local government's Ministry of Defense erected a quarantine wall shortly after the outbreak.
The global relief effort's steady stream of supply drops has sustained what few survivors remain in the city. The Ministry of Defense believes more radical action should be taken to stem the tide of this virus.
The question is, are there still non-infected survivors in the city as the GRE maintains? And if so, will the ministry still go through with a stated plan to annihilate the city in an attempt to wipe out the Harran virus once and for all?
Whether by way of the virus or the ministry's proposed plan, one thing is certain: Harran's days are numbered.
I will be reviewing Dying Light. The game maker is Techland, the same maker of Dead Island and Dead Island Riptide. Dying Light is based off of Assassin's Creed, I would say. It's pretty unique and probably the first in its kind game. It's basically a zombie survival, zombie apocalypse game, zombie survival, zombie apocalypse game mixed with Assassin's Creed. Like you can see, distance traveled 270 kilometers, distance grappling hook 8 kilometers, height climbed 6.5 kilometers. The game is pretty vertical as well. It's not just linear and horizontal, it's also pretty vertical. You have a lot of freedom of movement, probably one of the games with the most freedom of movement. That's also pretty realistic. The game is very scary at the start. The game is basically trying to survive using parkour or free running into zombie apocalypse. The game itself is pretty scary at the start, but later on it's more like an action game than a scary survival horror game. There's still many jump scares, I would say, and scary moments and panicky moments later on, but less. If you want the game to stay pretty scary, I would advise you to avoid fighting the zombies and just focus on avoiding the zombies using free running, not fighting them, just trying to avoid them and run away from them. Later on the game gets more action-ish instead of scary because you're getting stronger. The story is pretty nice, I would say, but I don't like the ending of the story, and the ending is pretty obvious and it's also meh. It's still a good storyline, I would say. There's co-op. I haven't played co-op yet because I'm waiting for my in real life friend to buy a new computer so we can play it together. There's, well, co-op can stay competitive and fun just because you have a lot of challenges. You can compete with your teammates with, like survival, who kills the most zombies in a given time, who gets to a specific location the fastest. Co-op is pretty fun because you don't have to, I think you can do multiple missions at the same time, I'm not sure, and you can go at different maps as well at the same time, I'm not sure, but you don't have to be next to each other, you can go as far as you want away from each other. There's two problems with co-op. Co-op is, well, at the start you probably want to play single player just for the story, because if you do co-op you can choose which story missions you do or which missions you do first. The second problem is you will not, co-op is a lot more fun than single player, but at the same time if you play co-op, like, you can choose what missions you do, that's one thing, and the other thing is you, like, if you play single player first, like, your friends will be less experienced or more experienced, which isn't really fun. It takes away the it's still fun, but it takes away the fun, I would say. My advice for you to when you're doing co-op is start playing with your friends. Like, as soon as you start, your friends will start playing as well. Start together, don't go in game alone or finish the game alone and then help your friends. It's not going to be as much fun as it would be. Multiplayer is something for people who only pre-ordered Dying Light. Multiplayer, you're not missing out that much, I would say. I played a few games. It takes pretty long to find a game. A lot of people leave if you're invading their night or game or whatever, which is also not fun. The zombie player at the start is really weak. If the human players know how to play it, they can even win 1v1 against a low level zombie player. The only time multiplayer would be fun as zombie is when you're high level playing against a good human team. Because at the start, if you play against a decent or good human team, you're getting stumped really hard. You can even win easily alone. There's 3 maps or areas in Dying Light. The first one is slums, which is my favorite because it's not really vertical. It's vertical but not that vertical. The second one is the city. The city is the most interesting, I would say. It's very vertical and it's a lot more suitable for chases, like when you want night zombies, night hunters to chase you and hunt you down and try to kill you. The city has a lot more verticality in it, which offers more interesting scenarios when you're getting hunted and when you're avoiding zombies and stuff. There's not many zombies on the roofs, but there's really a lot of zombies on the ground. The third one is Untitled, which isn't really important, it's only for a few story missions. There's 75 levels you can have, like your maximum level will be 75. Unlike Dead Island, you can get every skill point in the skill tree, which is really nice. You have 3 kinds of skill trees. You have Survivor, Power and Agility. Survivor is basic utility. You get them mainly from doing story missions or side missions, from questing and some other objectives. Power helps you fight zombies easier. Besides a few skill points, it's pretty much only combat orientated. You gain combat experience, power experience by hitting enemies or killing them and using power skills. Agility is basically making you more mobile, faster, gets you less fast out of stamina, helps you climb faster, be more agile and mobile, helps you escape the zombies or avoid them. You can get agility experience by doing free-running moves or using agility skills. Something I like about Dying Light is that it's a pretty long game, unlike a lot of games. Besides this scenario being really awesome, like free running in parkour, free running in a zombie apocalypse is something I really like. Like, it's 2 really nice concepts mixed together. I played 44 hours and I just completed the story, the full story. I also did a lot of, I think, all side quests. The only thing I have left to do is do some challenges and defense missions. So the game is pretty long, I would say, which is a plus point. For replayability, you can play co-op with people who are new or with friends, just for the competitive challenges. You can play against zombie players, night hunters. You can also replay the game or just play further when you're fully completed doing random stuff. What you can also do is make a new game and try to challenge yourself, like trying to play the game out without fighting zombies or without leveling any skills in power or survivor or agility, stuff like that. It's definitely going to make the game a lot more scary and challenging and interesting. The game scariness, at the start it's pretty scary, like I've probably said, but later on it gets more like an action game. For me, there's still a few things that make me jump, or that's scary, or that makes me panic. What I do is mostly I camouflage. I kill a zombie, I camouflage, and I kill a lot of other zombies. The thing with that in city is when I get onto ground level without being camouflaged, I often start panicking. I also panic against screamers because I didn't have that situation a lot before. I also panic against night turner changes because, well, I find them scary. I haven't done them much before, but like you've seen on the last story mission video of mine, I am not scared to fight the night turners. Also, a pretty interesting stuff about Dying Light is that you can dismember zombies. You can cut their arms off, their legs off. You can cut them in half vertically and horizontally. You can cut their head off, and when you dismember or break their bones, there's also a slow-mo. You can also break their bones like feet, even spine and chest, I believe. You can break their or crack their skull. You can break their necks, break their arms and legs, pretty sure as well. The game offers a lot of versatility, which is also nice, I would say. So the zombie types, there's a big variety of zombies, which is pretty fun. The normal zombies are biters, which are not the weakest, but the most common one. Gas tank zombies, those are normal zombies in gas mask suit. You can attack their canister can, which will explode, which will summon volatiles or virals. Virals are attracted by loud noises. They're weaker than the biters, but they are a lot faster, so they can often make you panic or get scared, because they also come in numbers normally. Best thing for you to do against virals is basically go on a building or something so you can kill them while they're climbing. They're also vulnerable to fall damage, but I think less than other zombies. The bolter is something you shouldn't care much about, I would say. It's in it shows up in a few story missions, and you need to kill one for a story mission, but it's also you don't need to do it much unless you want their tissue for a good blueprint. The bomber is kind of a boomer in Left 4 Dead. It runs to you even if you're camouflaged, and it explodes. It can insta-kill you, and it attracts all the zombies, and it summons virals that chase you down. Demolisher is a lot weaker than it seems at the first. He basically charges at you and throws rocks like the tank and charger in Left 4 Dead. You can easily avoid them. Then you have to kill their armor, then you have to attack their flesh until get down pretty fast. The goons are, in my opinion, the most annoying ones. The first version of the goons are really easy to kill. They will wind up their attack. They attack really hard. They knock you back, but they attack really slowly. And they move really slowly as well. First version winds up their attack pretty slow. So you can attack them and then they'll attack. You can dodge once, sidestep once, and then go back in. Their AoE is also pretty low. The second version is really annoying, really hard. It takes some time to adapt as well. You have two strategies to take the goons out. The second version has a lot more AoE on their attacks. So you basically, instead of have to dodge once, you have to dodge 2 times or 3 times. Fighting a goon, second version of the goon, is pretty hard on roofs because you can fall off and insta die. The second version of the goon also winds up their attack. The second version of the goon also winds up their attack as soon as you come close, so you can't really start the fight by hitting him. There's a few strategies to kill them easy in single player. In co-op you can just kick them, have one drop kick them and stun them briefly and then charge at him. The two things I use is basically, well, it is a variety actually. You can wait until he attacks, then go in, then run away. It's pretty hard in some situations, especially in close areas. You can range attack him once, so he attacks in retaliation, then you can go in and hit him. You can start off the fight, camouflage, then do a charge up attack, so it gets low hit points. You can also just kill him at ranged, but meh. I don't really use range at all in the game because it makes the game, I don't know, boring, I would say. But my way of fighting is also boring in a way, like it gives more adrenaline and it's more scary because you have to stay camouflaged, and a lot of zombies can be neck twisted to kill. But it's a lot more fun, I would say, because you have to keep cool and time your camouflage. Another way to kill the goon is in the tunnels. You sometimes have, or in our closing, if they attack, they will attack the wall instead of you because they can't pass the wall. You can make them attack and you don't have to worry about them. The only thing that will happen is you get low damage and get knocked back maybe. And they also get stunned if they hit the wall, which is pretty awkward to see. The screamer is basically a small kid which will attract you by crying like a baby. And then if you're not camouflaged, it will yell at you, damaging you and luring, summoning and attracting other zombies to its location, and it will summon runners or virals, and they will also hunt you down. The toad is pretty annoying, but it's pretty weak, I would say. It's basically a spitter from Left 4 Dead. The volatiles are the NPC night hunters, I would say. They're normal zombies that transform during the night into them. During transformation you can kill them. The biters have 3 stages of transforming into a volatile. First stage, they're normal. In some occasions they have their ribcage burst open already. Then they transform into virals and then they transform into volatiles. You can also find volatiles during the day in dark areas such as caves. They're killable, surprisingly. They're actually easy to kill later on in the game if you are really strong and you know how to fight them. But they mostly don't show up alone, they always group up. If they will find you, they will yell or scream and they will summon others to chase you down. When you're getting chased down, you have to not move in one direction, you have to change your directions a lot, avoiding other volatiles. You can also slide under stuff, climb stuff, use traps to disguise your route, or to try to buy you some time to hide so they can't find you anymore and go back to scouting for you.